Hello, everybody. I hope I have sound. I'm trying a new microphone tonight, so if somebody can let me know right away, do I have sound? I'm sure I do. My little sound meter's bouncing, so this would be great if I do. So let's see who's on. Looks like we got a few people waiting. I have non-fam, Gary, SPC3D, Tron. Whoops. Let's mute this. SPC3D Tron, Gary, Dan. Hello, Dan. Hello, everybody. Maker Viking, Maker Tater, Tripods Garage. Good evening. You guys are the ones that are on chat so far. All good. Sounds good. Awesome. So, thank you guys for joining me tonight. I've decided to try a little different sound. I found sitting on a shelf in here. I found I had one of these. It's a little kit called Alvoxcom, and we got it for something for Maria a while back, and didn't quite work out. But I thought I'm going to try it, and it's a really cool wireless mic set with this little guy up here, and I think the sound is going to be a little better because you'll be able to hear me as I move around. Because look, there's no wires, so yeah. Hey, non-fam, how you doing tonight? Good. So, yeah, so you guys let me know if this is overmodulated or if the sound is good. According to my little meter here, I'm not hitting the red. I'm just peaking the green and maybe coming into the yellow. So I think that sound is going to be pretty good. And I kind of like this because I can walk around my studio and you should be able to hear me just as good back here as you can up close, um, which is great because before with my fixed mic that was up above me, I would sound, you definitely lose my volume when I walk away. Brian BCK000, how are you? So, so tonight's stream, guys, is basically I just wanted to now that I got my Prusa Mini up and working again. Let me tell you what the issue with that was. Um, as you may remember, I did a video a while back on my Mini. I called it my Mini surgery. Um, what had happened was I was getting a thermal runaway error on the when I went to preheat anything or do anything with the hot end. So got on customer support with Prusa, which is excellent, by the way. And we walked through a few things. We opened the cover up, did a few readings. What they ended up doing was sending me a new thermistor. So they no cost, nothing to me. They shipped it. I got it within a week, and I switched out the thermistor, and it worked fine for the first week, two, whatever, when I was doing some prints. And then suddenly, about a week and a half ago, I got the same error. Um, it was that red screen saying it was basically a thermal error again, or a you know what I mean. Anyways, it wouldn't heat up for me. It kept going a thermal runaway error, that big red screen that we get. So I thought, well, so it burned the thermistor out again was my first thought, and so I got back on chat with Prusa just a few days ago. That's when I had the time to do it. And so turns out, long story short, turns out what the problem was in my studio, which is in the basement of my home here. It's pretty cool. I keep our house at, our thermistor on our house doesn't usually go above 17 or 18 degrees Celsius, which is 64, 66 in your US terms. And so the basement of our house, even though the furnace is here, is generally cooler by about 4 or 5 degrees than I keep it in the house, and I keep the house at. So oh, there we go. So long story short, what was happening was the first question the guy that I had this time for support on Prusa said, "What's the temperature that your nozzle and bed are starting at?" Well, my nozzle was starting at 14 degrees, and my bed was irrelevant. It was starting at like I don't know, 15, 16, whatever it was. Turns out the problem was that that's too cold. There's a safety feature built into the firmware of the Mini that says if the nozzle is 15 degrees or below, it's going to get that thermal runaway error. So what we did that night, he said, go grab a blow dryer, grab the wife's blow dryer, heated up the nozzle. It went right up to 20 something right away, and boom, it started working. And so rule of thumb here is, yes, people say that I can change that in the firmware, no problem to change that temperature. I don't know how. So what I've done a couple times, I'll just cut my hand over the hot end, get it up to 16 degrees, and it heats up fine. So I either have to warm up my basement, keep a blow dryer here, or just be prepared to warm that hot end up a couple degrees before I use it. So not a big deal, but I think that was the problem all along. So no, there was no fault in the Prusa Mini. I believe the problem was always the temperature, the ambient temperature in my studio. So there we go. Let's see. No trolls allowed. Okay. I agree with that, Tripod's Garage. No smoke yet? No, not yet. Hopefully no smoke tonight. So, yeah. So now that we got the Mini working, what I want to do now, who can tell me, what's the name? I don't think this is called a, what's the name of this style printer? We have the Kingroon KP3s here. And then we have the Mini. These are the ones with a single extrusion up, and then what's that style printer called? Anyways, I kind of wanted to do this sort of little Mini versus Kingroon. You're speaking the Apple versus the, I don't know, PC, I guess, if you want to call it that, in my opinion. But I forget this style of printer. But they're both the same style printer with the single extrusion, and then the Y-axis running out on that rail. Main differences between these two, of course. Cantilever. Thank you, Ryan. Okay, yeah, so they're both cantilever. So, of course, because a cantilever closet sticks out the side of a house, which we have here, I got to remember that. So, main difference is we have linear rails on the Kingroon. We have a linear rail for the Y, and we have a linear rail for the X. And the Z is just the rollers, of course. And then the Mini, we have I guess those are bearing, I think these are called bearing sliders, shows what I know. But, X and Y have the bearing, or the X, Y, and Z. The Z has the rod with the two bearings, and we're running on with the bearings along the rods on the Y and the X. So now the Kingroon is a direct drive. It's got a direct drive with the, here, let me switch this view here. Got this new camera, as you can see right in front of me. Thank you to today's 3D print, Chris Nearies. He had this camera new on his channel. I ordered one. This is a beautiful camera. I'll show you a few things about it later. Mark Flanagan, hello, welcome to the channel. So if I switch over here, so we can look here and see that, yeah, right here. So on the Kingroon, we have a direct drive extruder here, direct drive extrusion here. So that's just a little Viking that I printed when I did this on my channel earlier, and that's what that was for. That was an extrusion twisty knobby thing. So, and so we have direct drive extruder on there versus the Mini, which is a Bowden tube system. Okay. Other than that, they're very similar. The Kingroon uses mechanical switches for the limit stops, whereas the Mini uses I don't even know what you call that. They're switchless, basically. So the Mini basically detects when it's at the end of its movement, and that's how it works. Kingroon is basically manual bed leveling. Manual bed leveling on the Kingroon, which I've set up the level on this already, so that we don't have to go through, because this isn't a video about leveling the bed. This is a video about two of them and seeing what the quality is like. And on the Mini, of course, we have the, I think it's called a PIDNA probe or a PINDA probe. So it's automatic bed leveling, but depending on the sheet you have on here, you have the baby stepping Z. I don't believe I have the baby stepping Z on the Kingroon. I haven't seen it in the features. I think some people have done some firmware updates where you can. I haven't seen it on the stock firmware, which is what this is. Both of these printers are completely stock. The only thing I've done on the Kingroon is for you guys who may have been on the last stream when I did the Kingroon versus the Flash Forge, I had this. There was this fan here. The cooling. This is the not the parts cooling fan, but the fan that's cooling the heating block was really noisy. You might remember I took the tweezers and stuck the tweezers in to that cooling fan. But anyways, it was noisy, so I did replace that fan, and it's make a huge difference. This printer will get loud once the part cooling fan kicks in. So I just realized that my head is really cut off low in this one window here. So hold on one second. Let me see if I can show you guys more of the top of my head. My head's being cut off here. There we go. Ah, there. So you can see the top of the balding head here. So Tripod's Garage, you did a video using a heat gun to bring up the bed temperature. I was getting a thermostat error. Garage was 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, that's cold. That's colder than here. So yeah. Yeah, but that was, again, I mean, it's not bad down here. It's warmer tonight, so I didn't have a problem tonight because I've had the heat going because it's just been cold in the house today. So I'm not even wearing a sweater tonight. I'm just wearing this shirt. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to get these two things started. So let me back this up here a bit. And let me get both of these printers in the frame. And then I just hit this button, and it just does a focusing thing here. So what I'm printing is I'm printing my Dwitcoin just because I didn't want to do test files or benchies. I just wanted to do something different, something that was going to show a little bit of first layer stuff. And so I'm printing my Dwitcoin, which is this guy here. Let me get this in focus. Watch how good this camera focuses close up. Look at that. So I'm going to be printing this on both of those printers. This is printing out at 200% of what I normally do this coin at. So now I have to hit that button to focus again. There we go. Keep all things fair in this competition. I am using Prusa Mini. I've opened 2 new packs, brand new rolls of Prusa Mini. So this one here is the Prusa Mini. Let's see, that is that's the PLA Royal Blue, and on the Mini I'm using the Galaxy Purple. So both Prusa Mini filaments. So Royal Blue there, and then you can see behind there the Galaxy Purple, and they're both brand new rolls. Just loaded them up. I don't want, I don't want to do this and say, oh well, one of them had good filament, one of them had crappy filament. They both got equal filament, and in my opinion, Prusa Mini is excellent filament. Maker Viking, what camera is this and how much does it cost? This is I'll put a link in the video below while we're doing this as soon as I get these prints going. It's actually a document camera. It's meant for filming documents. So that's why you can get like if you can get extremely close on this thing. So if I bring this little Viking in here and tap on the focus button, it will focus very close to this thing. I mean, I can get really, that's a crappy first layer, I know, but we'll talk about that after. But yeah, I can get very close with this thing with the focus to show off parts. And then just come back. It's got an autofocus as well, but I leave it on manual focus, and that little beep you hear, I haven't figured out how to disable that, but I'll put a link into it. It cost around 100, if I'm not mistaken. I had to buy it off the US Amazon site because I couldn't find it in Canada. Well, no, that's not true. I could find it in Canada, but it was about double the price. I bought it on the US Amazon.com site. I paid shipping and duty, and it came out to about 150 Canadian all in for me at the time I purchased it. It just took me a while to get it. It was like 2 weeks for me to get it because I purchased it off Amazon.com versus .ca. So without further ado, I'm going to get both these printers going. We're going to, number one, I sliced the Prusa, the Dwitcoin on the Prusa with Prusa Slicer. The Kingroon, I did a test. I tried to create my own profile. I suck at creating my own profiles right now. It didn't turn out well. This is sort of what you can see on this one, my test one I did. It is crappy looking. I mean, that is awful looking top layer there, and the bottom layer is just terrible. So I went on and I found a Kingroon KP3s profile for Simplify 3D that somebody in the community had made. I loaded that profile, and it prints much better with the actual proper profile. So I've still got to work on creating brand new profiles for the printers in the slicing software. So without further ado, I'm going to get these both started. I'm even going to give the Kingroon a head start because, we'll see. Um, let's see what happens. So let's get this started. We're going to go print. We're going to find the file. We're going to do Dwitcoin and confirm. There we go. It's already warmed up, so it's going to start going right away, and it should be level, but I'll just double check. And on the Prusa, I'm going to go print my Dwitcoin and print. I'm just going to double check the first layer on this Kingroon to make sure. Prusa, I'm confident it's going to be fine. The Kingroon, I'm not a fan of the build surface on this printer. It's given me some pretty inconsistent bottom layers on things. So what I want to try on this is I do want to get a better, it's already got the magnetic surface on it, so I just want to get a better build plate on it, but I don't have a build plate this small on hand right now. And it looks like it's going to do that first layer pretty good right now. So yeah, that's level. That's pretty level. So here we go. We'll just keep an eye on these ones for a minute. And of course, the Prusa is doing its pre-probing at 170 degrees. The one thing I love about the Prusa Mini, and those of you who have it will agree or disagree. At first, I wondered, why does it go to 170 to do its probing? And I don't remember whether I just thought of it or read it or somebody told me, but it's so that the filament doesn't ooze out. It only really needs 170 in the bed to temperature in order for the expansion to happen, so that it's an accurate leveling. But it's so the filament doesn't ooze. Whereas in the other standard printers, when you level your bed and so forth, or it's doing its BL touch probing, you're getting oozing filament all the time because the nozzle is up to printing temperature. So, and there goes Prusa. So this should be about a 1 hour and 10-minute print for each of these. 1 hour and about 1 hour and 35 minutes on the Prusa, but I don't believe it took that long. And the Prusa first layer is perfect. I always like to get rid of this little purge line while it's printing. I don't know, it's just something I do. There we go. So hope everybody has had a good weekend so far. I've got some exciting streams coming up. I got some exciting stuff to talk about. Well, let me show you the beauty of this camera as well now. So if I want to show you how that first layer is going on the Kingroon, I can take this thing, and I love the flexible arm on it. So I can take this, forgive the jumpiness here, and I can get in very, very, very close to that, hit that focus button, and come on, focus for me, don't make me a liar. Oops. There we go. Man, that filament does not look the same color on camera as it is. It wants to focus on the motor here, on the fan. But it's not bad. It sounds quiet right now. I don't know if you can, I'll just lean closer. See if we can actually hear. Right now it's just the cooling fan going, and the power supply fan I can't hear at all. But once that hits layer 2 and the parts cooling fan kicks in, this will get loud. .com says only 3 left in stock for the camera, going fast. Yeah, these are great. So as you can see, I mean, it lets me get really close. And then if I go over to the Prusa, let's bring it over to the Prusa, and I get in really close to that Prusa to see the beautiful first layer it's doing. And then just tap that focus button. I mean, that is very, very good close zooming. And that's a nice looking first layer. Yep, smooth as a baby's bottom. Oh, the CRSC Maker Tater. The CRSC does bed leveling at 120. Okay, I never noticed that actually. I have one sitting right there. And I haven't really noticed that, so I'll look for that. I haven't run that in a little while yet, though. So why is that looking so blurry on one of my playbacks? Does that look blurry to you guys? That close up? Oh, there it goes. Now it's focusing. Okay. On my preview screen here, it's looking nice and sharp, but on the actual YouTube, I'm really taxing this little computer out though. This, I think I need to get myself a desktop full-size computer, um, because number one, I don't have enough USB ports. I've maxed out the cameras I can put on this thing. I've got hubs going over a few different places here, but it won't let me plug in any more cameras. And I have two more cameras that I'd like to use eventually. Um, all I have now going is this main camera that I'm looking at. I have this close-up camera that's showing the Prusa right at the moment. And I can switch real quick here. I do have my overhead camera, which is on a boom up here, and it is working right now. So there's an overhead view of what we're doing. Look at that. So, yeah. But I can't hook up. I have a couple other cameras, but it won't let me hook them up. They just don't show up in OSB, and even in I've tried XSplit, and they still don't work in OSB or XSplit. So let's get back to this camera here. Oh, mine might be doing 480, 1080, but it looks okay. Looks good on your end. Good. Good. I'm glad. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, it's sharpened up now. As I say, I think it's because my computer is I'm taxing this computer to the max here. I've got software open. I've got two screens. Actually, no, that's not true. This screen that I'm reading your comments on above here, I have that one hooked up to an older PC, probably a 10-year-old PC that I've just got sitting over there, and all that is doing is running Google Chrome for this screen, so I can read your comments. The laptop is running this big HP screen right here, the 32-inch HP curved screen, and it's running all the cameras. Now here you go. I'm going to move this camera back, show you how the Kingroon is progressing. It is on to layer 2. Oops. Now that first layer, if you can see that first layer, as far as laying down smooth, it's not the smoothest, but there's an issue with that bed. It's level. It's not too low, not too high, but there are issues with that bed. You can see all the different deformities that it looks like. And that's this bed. This is just one of those cheap magnetic surfaces like Creality used to put on their, or I don't know if they still do, on their Ender 3. But it's just a cheap magnetic bed, and I don't like it at all. So, is that silver cinder block thing the Kingroon power supply? Yes, it is. The one right behind here. Yes, the one behind it. That's their external power. So that's another similarity that the Kingroon has to the Prusa Mini, is they have external power supplies. But if you listen now, you'll hear that parts cooling fan is kicked in, and it is loud. So I'm probably going to change that out as well. Let me just back up so we can get both of these in the frame here again. There we go. So we'll see. Let me focus. You see the Mini is lagging behind the Kingroon in speed so far, but I believe the Mini is going to speed up once it hits that second layer. The Mini I've got going really slow on that first layer, but it is a stellar first layer, I'll tell you that. That is a big power supply on the Kingroon, yes. So the power supply for the Kingroon is right behind it. So that is, yeah, definitely a huge one. And it's a non-name, non-brand. I'm sure that could be switched out for a Meanwell if need be, but it's working fine right now. So, and compared to the Mini, which has that little power block, which is right here. Where can I put it so you see it? Holding it right up. Oh, behind the Mini. Doesn't matter. But the Mini power block is about the size of 3 decks of cards. So it's a lot smaller, takes up a little less real estate than the Kingroon Power Supply. So, oh, I was going to show you the fans I got for the. They're tiny, tiny, tiny fans. Whoops, for this Kingroon. So that's the parts cooling fan making all that noise, and so that's the. This was a 2-pack, so that's the fan I replaced right here for the cooling fan. And it's basically silent now compared to what the old one was. The old one was making a really screechy, squeaky sound, and it was loud. So I will eventually replace the parts cooling fan under here with this one as well. It came as a 2-pack for like $12 or something like that. So that'll get replaced eventually. And I don't really consider that modding the printer. It is and it isn't, because all I'm doing is replacing a defective or a noisy fan. So this thing is just really still printing factory spec for the most part. And that's nice and smooth now. But look, I mean, look at the difference a nice smooth bed and a nice slow first layer makes. Look at that Prusa Mini. Yeah, you can tell which printer I like best, but they both do pretty good. There we go. We're still on to that first layer on the Mini here. They both have there we go, that's almost on the first layer. Then it's going to get, then she's going to speed up, and now we're in a race to see if it's going to catch up to the Kingroon. So they both have the external type spool holders. So I'm just going to let that first layer finish, and we'll see how fast that gets going. Then we'll talk about the spool holders. The Mini spool holder has a it's one piece, and you just slide for the width of the spool. You slide along a rail for the width of the spool, and it stays where it is. The Kingroon spool holder is 2 separate pieces with bearings that you just place a certain width apart for the width of your spool. They both work fine. I'm not a fan of the Kingroon one because it's 2 pieces. The Prusa one is 1 piece, but that's a minor thing. You know, that's nothing really to write home about. But I prefer the 1 piece. I could always print a new spool holder for this. It'd be great to have a spool holder up top here somehow, if I could figure out a way to mount it on top. Well, here goes the Mini finishing layer 1. Go Kingroon, go! Yeah, good one, Brian. You know, I've done a test run of this, so I kind of know what's going to happen here, but we'll see. This is running according to the slicing software. I did not change the speed. I trusted whoever built the profile in Simplify 3D. This is running at 90 millimeters per minute. 90? Is it 90 millimeters per minute? I should double check that. But, oh, there's Fusion right here. Oh, no, that's Fusion 360. That's my design. I want to see if I have Simplify 3D still open. I do. So according to the profile, let's check this out. There goes the Mini. Now you can also hear that the Mini does make a little bit of noise. It's nice and silent. On the back of the Mini bed in videos, I always see a red flashing LED. What's that for? And does it flash in real life or just the camera? That red flashing LED you're seeing right there, that's the heat bed, basically. That's when it's on, the heat bed is heating. When it's off, the heat bed is off. But I think it's just basically flashing right now to basically say that it's maintaining the heat. But I know when I'm preheating that stays solid while the bed is heating. So, yeah, it's an indicator of the bed heat. But look how quick that Prusa is printing these second layers in comparison. And you're going to notice a little bit of jumping. When it prints the edge of the coin, the Kingroon anyways causes my whole bench to shake a little bit. So if you see a little bit of shakiness happening, that's why. But that is a incredibly smooth layer. It missed a line right here for some reason. If you can see that right there, it missed a line on the initial first layer. So Interesting. That could be something in the slicer. But I was going to show, so on this profile I downloaded for the Kingroon, according to the profile, it's running at 90 millimeters per second as far as the speed goes. And I believe, let me just check and see, in my Prusa slicer for the Mini, what speed do I have this running at? I need my glasses. Here we go. Printer settings. No, we're going to do print settings. Here we go. Speed. Where's my speed? Perimeters 40 millimeters a second, infill 80 millimeters per second. So it's running pretty much close to the same speed in the infill, 80 millimeters per second. And then we have external perimeters 30 millimeters per second, and solid infill 80, and top solid infill 40%. So there we go. But both of them slice. The Prusa says an hour and 35 minutes for print time. And on the Simplify the 3D profile for the Kingroon, when I slice it, it tells me 1 hour and 17 minutes. So that little bit of extra speed. So it should be 117 versus 135. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, that little bit of a flaw right there. But we'll see how it finishes. I don't think that's going to impact the overall quality of this Dwitcoin. So let's back her up here. And we'll get a look here, as I was saying, on this spool holder. Well, that's a really close look. But you can see that spool holder on the Kingroon is just two pieces with the bearings in it, and they're independent of each other, and so you just separate that as far as you need to for the spool versus the Prusa spool holder, which is a single piece, and you can see in the bottom there, it's got a little, the one piece slides, they slide along an extrusion there, and you just slide the width to whatever you need for your spool size. And it's one piece. Look at the little mini rep box. That's cute. Oh, and speaking of rep box, I did finish building my rep box. Let's get this back up high, and let's keep an eye on both of these guys right here. Here we go. Love this camera. It's great. Although it's a little bit shaky when I move it around. There we go. So yeah, this is really cute little Viking, and I did the gold Viking just because, but getting pretty good print quality off this little printer for what it is. I was going to, for tonight, I have a spare Wham Bam. This is from an old CR20 Pro printer I used to have. They're just all disassembled, and one of them was given away, but I was going to put this on because it can overhang on this side, and it can overhang on the front, no problem. And I was going to use this and see if it would work any better. Maybe I'll do that if there's time when these are done. I'll throw this on, level it to this plate, and see if that'll work. But I wouldn't mind. This is the kind of plate surface I want to get for this. I'm not a fan of this one here at all. So the little the little microphone I got, that little kit, it's really cool. So this thing here clips on my belt, and then it's got obviously this little mic part that's clipped onto my shirt here. And so this is the second one. So there's two microphones with a set. So I could have two people can be wearing a microphone each. Let me put this one away. Oops. I'll just throw that up here for now. And then the part that's hooked up to the computer right here. So that's the transmitter that just plugs into the microphone input on my computer. And then that just sort of lays there and transmits the sound to my wireless mics. And it also came with two headsets. So these are the little, you can stick them over your head, and then you have the little microphone here. So I prefer the clip-on one that's here. And in my tests earlier, it seemed to sound pretty good. So, Maker Tater, where did I buy the Kingroon from? I bought it on Amazon.ca. This was $159 Canadian. And I'm sure they're on Amazon.com still. Let me have a look here. See if I can find that. I believe I actually can. Let's see. Can I? Did I do this right? Well, that should be coming up. Let's see if this shows my... Nope, not showing it. For some reason I had my computer display set to show here, but let me see if I can find this for you. Oh, I'm going to sit down. Well, these things are working. So, did anybody watch my little benchy video of the Prusa Mini thrashing my benchy? It was my own fault, and I knew it was going to happen. I used the textured bed on PLA, and that's just a no-no. It just doesn't seem, you can't seem to get the PLA to stick to that textured bed without using an actual adhesive. So, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this might work. Let's see. Here's my screen, and you're seeing what I'm seeing now. If I go over to this, let's just find a... let's go here. I'm going to go to Amazon.ca, and I'm going to go Kingroon, and let's see what they're selling for now. There it is right there. Oh, they've gone up in price. So there's the one I got. So I purchased this item on December 17th. I did not pay that at all. I paid under $200 because if you go to my video page, I have my video called, where's my video? It is called 179. Sorry, I paid $179 for it. You can see in this video right here. So they have gone up in price, which Amazon tends to do that. So 179 to 220, that's quite the jump in price. And I don't know if they do that because you saw the spaghetti, did you? That was pretty cool. That was my first time mixing music to it, and the transition when it went from a good print to going bad, I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon, um, when they see these prices or these printers selling a lot, they raise the price because they realize how popular it is. But that's expensive. That's crazy. I'm glad I got it when I did. Now, if I go to Amazon.com and see what they're selling it for in the good old US of A, Kingroon, if I can even find it on here. No, I can't even, it should be coming right up here, but I don't see it coming up at all. So let's just do a different search, Kingroon KP3s. And not coming up at all. So it's not looking like you can get it on Amazon.com. That's extremely unusual. It's usually the other way around. You can usually get it in the US and not in Canada. But yeah, that's, I would not have paid over $200. The whole idea was to see what I could get. The whole idea was to see what I could get for under $200 as far as a printer, and that's what I was looking for. So there's a little bit of shaking happening. The infill on the Kingroon, I believe I had it set to wiggle, which is not a good thing to do for a live video, but what the heck. And the the infill on the Prusa Mini is a wave, so they're both wiggling and waving, but most of the vibration is coming from, well, they're about even as far as vibration from the machines. It's not shaking the screen too bad. Not bad at all. Oh, and the other nice thing about this light, or this camera, I'm jumping back and forth all over the place here. Hang on one sec. The transition was very nice. Oh, thank you. 199 on December 23rd. Yeah, and it's gone up again. It's crazy. 179 US dollars. I couldn't find that, Dan. Thanks for posting that. That's expensive though. 179 US. So we would pay we're about 1.35 exchange. 1.35. That's $241 Canadian. That's ridiculous. So I don't know what's with Amazon, but yeah, keep an eye. If anybody wants to get that, 179 Canadian was great, but you know, for what it is, I think it's well worth it for a little printer. But that's crazy. So timing is everything, I suppose. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. As you have both sheets on the Prusa, what's the difference? So for PLA, you should use glue stick on a textured and no glue stick on smooth. Well, I've when I first got my Mini and my MK3s, which is in behind me in the right there, and I built that little IKEA enclosure for it. When I first got them, I had the textured sheets. I had both textured and smooth sheets. I put the textured sheet on and ran test prints in PLA, and they worked fine. And I think Dan may be able to attest to this because Dan just got his Mini. And I believe, Dan, you were having issues with the PLA sticking to that textured sheet as well. But initially, they worked fine. And then they just stopped working. Even though I was cleaning them, soap and water, isopropyl alcohol, everything, trying different temperatures, different first layers, different squishes. But inevitably, they failed. So, yeah, I run PETG on the textured sheets. It's beautiful. If you look at all the printed parts on the Prusas, they're all obviously run on the textured sheets, but they're all PETG filament as well. So PETG on the textured sheet, easy for me to say, PETG, ABS, ASA on the textured sheet work fine. I find PLA, I need to use that smooth sheet though. So yeah, well, this is right in front of my face on this other camera. So me thinks the Mini's catching up to the Kingroon. We'll see. But you know, print quality and all. Obviously, there's you know, you might see a little difference in these two printers, but I think where the main difference is going to be in deciding whether you're going to spend currently $179 US on a Kingroon versus 329 for a kit for the Mini, or 399 for a pre-assembled Mini. So let's call it 359 if we want to average it out. So you're looking half price. So the Kingroon is half the price of the Mini. I've not had to deal with PLA on the PEI, yeah, versus the texture, definitely. Yeah, and as I say, Dan, it worked great for my test prints, but after that, nothing. No. Yeah, yeah, the Mini on order with both sheets. Think I made the right choice over Kingroon. Yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. For the price, this is decent, but I'm looking at number one. I've had to deal with Prusa service a few times, and it's excellent. Um, they stand behind their product. When I ordered when I had the issue and they sent me the hot end thermistor, I was out of warranty. I'd had a 1 year warranty. I was out of it, and they sent it anyways. They just said, "Okay, here it is. We have your address and everything on order. Thermistor will be out to you." A week later, I had a thermistor. It was great. No questions asked. They sent me links to how to replace it. They have incredible instructions. I haven't had to deal with Kingroon customer service right now yet. I don't know what that's going to be like. So it's a made in China printer, like the Crealities and all that. I've heard good and bad about service for the different kind of printers that have coming from China. The Anycubic service is not bad. They tend to want you to do a lot of things and figure things out for yourself. The Arion service I've heard good and bad about, but I've only ever heard good about Prusa service. So Kingroon, I'm going to assume, is going to be along the same lines as Creality, Anycubic, and Arion, and so forth. So we'll see. PLA is doable on the texture sheet, but much trickier. More squish, less fan, more heat. Yeah, I agree, Hack Monkey. And welcome, Hack Monkey. I agree, definitely. So I'm going to try something here, guys, while we're just watching this print here. Let me see. I wanna see if I can do this. I've been using, I'm streaming right now with OBS software. I have XSplit software. I know, Dan, you use XSplit. I've been playing with both. And there's a third one that my friend Richard Cleveland from the First Layer, he's told me about another one that I want to give a shot to. So I've been toying around with OBS a little bit, and I'm starting to learn a few different things about how to do it. Like, for instance, tonight, I did my timer properly. I remember the one stream I started my live stream 7 hours in advance or something. That was just a mess. But hey, learn as we go. Prusa, you're buying a whole experience. There is good value to that. I agree. Maker Tater, I agree 100%. And quality parts. I mean, they stand behind their product really well. I think they use good quality parts in their machines. There's some makers out there that are going to say you can get just as good a print quality, et cetera, on other printers, and that's true. You can, but as you say, it's an experience. So, yeah, I really agree with that. Yeah, 3 days to the U.S. Yeah, and when I buy Prusament, I can buy Prusament directly from Prusa in the Czech Republic, and it costs less and gets shipped to me faster than if I buy filament out of the US. That's sad in a way, but I don't understand why. I really don't understand why. They ship it by DHL to Canada. I pay maybe 3-4% import fees that DHL charges. So to buy a roll of Prusament PLA, if I were to order some Jesse PLA out of the States, I should confirm it to make sure, but I guarantee if I order a roll of Jesse PLA or 2 or 3 rolls, by the time I pay shipping, exchange rate, which I pay from Prusa as well, exchange rate, but shipping, exchange rate, and duties, I'll end up paying more than had I bought 3 rolls of Prusament from the Czech Republic. So something not right there in my opinion, but perhaps Prusa gets much, much better shipping rates from DHL because they probably ship, well, they do ship a crap load of stuff on a daily basis, I'm sure. So maybe it's all about the shipping rates that they get versus a smaller company in the US that's just shipping filament and parts out. So I don't know. So, but that's why I own a lot of Prusament, and mind you, lately I've been ordering a lot of Arion silk filaments, but I get those off Amazon with free shipping with my Prime account. You run the first layer about 10 degrees higher bed, about 70, but real trick is don't kick the fans on till about, oh, okay, till about layer 5. Then ramp it up over 5 more layers. Okay, well, that'll be interesting. I'll have to try that. Nice, nice. Get you some Jesse. I want to try the Jesse PLA. I really do. I just can't justify the cost of getting it to me right now. I want to add a. Let me try something here. Yeah. Oh, I'm loving learning all this stuff, and oh man, I had fun editing that video on Friday night. My Benchy spaghetti video. That was so cool. Ah, oops. Oh, okay. If the fan's kicking all at once, it shocks the PLA off the texture sheet. That makes sense. So you're just gonna, as you say, ramp it up. So after layer 5, maybe go a 20%, 30%, 40%. Okay, I'll try that. I will try that because I love that. textured finish on some prints. I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna have to try that hack monkey. That's a great tip. I'm gonna see if something works here, guys. Bear with me. Again.
Hit that like button and subscribe. Bye.
Aww. Oh, I don't think that quite worked the way it was supposed to. Too funny. Problem is I'm having, oh, there we go. There we go. Maybe this will work. No, I'm having trouble with videos. That didn't quite work out. Was there any sound to that? Anybody who saw that? Was there any sound? I guess I could always listen to it myself here, but oh, good, good, good. I couldn't hear it here, but I have my sound all turned off. So, but the problem was that I didn't have that size right. It should have looked like this.
Again. Hit that like button and subscribe. Bye.
Aww. I have to play that halfway through my videos now. And the thing is, I don't have to pay him. Well, I haven't had to pay him yet. But if he starts collecting royalties, I'm in trouble. Let's get a close-up look again here. Let's get this down. Have a look at that infill. See how close I can get you. A little bit. There we go. It's a wiggle infill, so it's actually quite wiggly. I don't know if I can hold that. I can hold the camera still, but I'm not going to be able to hold that bed still. That's the wiggle infill on that. Almost looks like the camera's touching that head, but it's actually a good few centimeters away from it. And then we'll go over to the Prusa. Here's what we got going on the Prusa. The Mini. There we go. And it's doing its wiggle infill as well. So the Prusa is set for 0.2 quality, and the Kingroon is set for 0.2, whatever the profile is set for. Getting there. You guys see this big box behind me right there? That is a right there. That just came in yesterday. Let's see. Oh, what happened up top here? There's my chat. Yeah, this camera is doing an excellent job. I love it. I mean, I can switch it to autofocus, but I like the manual focus because sometimes the autofocus is a little in out in out in out. Whereas if I hit that focus button, it just boom does it. Boom, boom, boom. So I just got that big box in Friday. I'm going to be maybe next Sunday I'll do a live build. I haven't decided yet. Um, it is a 3D printer, of course. This one right here. It has a build volume of 320 by 320 by 400. I wanted something. I have a CR10S Pro. It's not behaving the best lately. It's at the printer doctor right now because I'm having issues with the firmware. But I have a lot of mid-volume printers. I have the Ender 3 V2. I have the CR6 SE. Two of those, three of the Ender 3 V2s, the Anycubic. I have the Mini and the Kingroon, and I have the MK3s Prusa. I don't have a large volume printer right now, and so I decided to get a 320, 320, 400. I've had a couple people want to buy a Mandarin. I don't know what they're called, those helmets. Had a couple people inquire if I could print them for them and they'd buy them off me, and I said, well, I don't have the volume to do that yet. So I found this printer that's in that box on sale. So it was a really good price. And a friend of mine locally here, you guys may have seen him build it recently on the first layer. So I decided to get one, and I'm going to build it on my channel, and it'll be the first time I've built a large format 3D printer, which to me is large format. 320 is pretty big. And it's got really, really good reviews. And so I thought, what the heck, I'll bite the bullet and buy one. So, and then we will build it and see how it does. So stay tuned. Maybe next week. I'm not sure. I still want to do the my resin printer, but I've been told and read that resin doesn't like cold ambient temperatures too well, and it's pretty cool down in this basement in the winter. I may wait till the springtime to do the resin. I don't want to, but I have to. I think so. Yeah. What else do I have going on? Oh, I finished the rep box. I didn't finish the rep box on a live stream because I just two streams was enough for that. But I finished putting all the little pieces together. I had ordered in some bearings. I was missing the bearings as well, so I ordered some bearings on Amazon, and I got all the spool holders and everything ready. So yeah, that where did I put those? Oh, maybe I put them on top. So yeah, right down over here. The printer, how much was it? The 320, it was $549.99 Canadian. So you're probably looking about 400 US, 400 and change. So it's not a bad deal for a printer like that. It's direct drive, touchscreen, dual Z rods. So my buddy who has it here, I saw some prints coming off of it, and they look really, really good. So, but yeah, over there, I'll just sort of shine this over there, down there on my floor. That's the finished rep box. I just have to do the wall space and mount it. I want to use that in conjunction with the Prusa MK3s over there, but I need to, I may have to move my man cave sign because I want to incorporate the rep box with my Palette Pro 2 and feed. I'd like to set it up to feed any printer, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. But I think initially I'm going to have it feeding the Prusa. I haven't decided 100%. I may have it feeding this new large volume one I'm getting, but I'm going to need to make room for that. Nice camera. Hey, Tripod's Garage. Isn't that nice? Well, I can tell you guys what it is because it's going to be built eventually. It's the Mingda Rock 3. So the Mingda Rock 3 is what that one is. A 320 by 320 by 400. So it's a brand I've never tried before, so thought, what the heck. If it's total garbage, that's why I'll probably do the build next week. If it's total garbage, I can always send it back to Amazon. But from what I've heard, I'm going to keep it because I do want a larger format printer. So, especially since I'm getting requests to print some larger stuff. So yeah, auto and manual focus. Which camera is that? It is, okay, let me look up the name of this. Let me look this up. I'm going to look it up first, then I'll show you because I don't want it to accidentally show my address information. Not that I care. Um, well, I do care. I don't want you guys knocking on my doorstep. I have a US Amazon account as well. It's gone up in price a little bit too, but okay, so it is, here we go, right there. That's the camera right there on Amazon.com, currently sitting at $135.99. So it's a document camera, 8 megapixel autofocus document camera. It's also got, well, I was going to show you this earlier and I forgot, but if I put something in front of here, for instance, let's focus it. Oops. Switch back to this camera. So if we put this in front of it, we focus. There we go. It's also got a light, so I can pop a light on. It's too bright for what I'm doing here, but you can actually dim down the light. The light is dimmable. So, but in this case, it's actually better without the light because my studio is pretty well brightly lit. But if I had a darker subject, I don't know what I have here that's dark. If I wanted to look on the inside of this box, no, it's not even that dark in there. But yeah, the light, I can turn the light on and shine inside of a dark object. Look how close I can get that. I mean, that is awesome. And this was thanks to Chris Neary's on today's 3D print. I saw him with this camera and fell in love with it. I ordered it the same day I saw it on his stream. So yeah, and then light off. Yeah, so that light helps if you're looking inside something or really close up on something. So, and we'll just focus back onto that. So again, I'll just switch back so you can see if anybody wants to check that out or write it down. But that's the, I can put a, I think Dan might have put the link up there already. More infill on the Kingroon. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, maybe. Let's see, what's that set at? Let me go back here first. I can post this link after as well. I'll do it in the description of the video later for this camera. I don't have any affiliates with anything. I don't have enough viewer or enough subscribers on Amazon to be affiliated with anybody. So I get nothing out of this other than sharing good information with you guys. Full size stepper on the Kingroon, yes. Which, you know what? I've seen people do mods on this, and that'll, you can get away with a pancake stepper, no problem on this, I would imagine. Because that hot end, that whole assembly's got to be heavy, but it's on the linear rail, so it's pretty solid out on that rail. You mean the Raise RC? Yeah, I gotta read on that and see if that's an option. I don't know. I wonder if I push and hold it. Let's see. No, maybe not. um, although there's got to be a way to disable the beep. If not, I could probably take it apart and just snip a wire. Because yeah, it's annoying to me too, but it's a confirmation that I've pushed the button too. So direct drive, yes, it's a direct drive printer. Of all my printers, which do I use the most? Right now, I use at home. I don't use a lot. At my office, I use the Ender 3 V2s more than anything right now because I'm printing a few jobs for customers. At home, when I'm printing, I'm going to be doing some for our 5-year-old. I'm going to be doing the alphabet. I'm 3D printing capital letters and small letters. We're going to start helping him learn to spell and do the alphabet. So I'll be using all my printers here to do that. But I would say the one I use the most down here so far is the two Prusas, the Mini and the MK3, and then next the Flash Forge. I have the Ender 3 V2 and the um, CR6 SE. down here mostly because I did the builds, but I haven't used them a lot. I used them a bit at Christmas when I was printing some Christmas gifts for people. Only 3 left on that for that camera. Thank you so much for linking that, Dan. Dan put the link to that camera in there. Yeah, and I paid a little less even than that. So prices have gone up since before Christmas. I ordered this back in November, I believe. No, December 16th is when I ordered it, and I actually received it December 16th, and it was delivered. What was my delivery date on this? January 6th is when I received it. So it took a couple weeks to get here, but it was well worth it. I paid $125.99 with my exchange and shipping, and now it's $135. It's gone up $10. So Amazon tends to do that. Okay, on both of these printers, we're getting into our first top layer, and then we're going to hit the letters. So only 3 left on that. Yeah. So that's going hot. This is one of my favorite purchases. I wish I would have known about this a long time ago, but you know what? We learn from each other. I learned from Chris Neary's, and you guys are learning from me, but that's what this community is all about. So I would even pick up a second one of these if the need ever comes. They are phenomenal. The only thing is that it doesn't have a zoom. If I want to zoom it, I have to actually physically move the camera, but that's not a big deal at all. Yeah, that Kingroon fan is loud compared to the Mini. The Mini is silent. The only noise the Mini's been making is when it does that fast infill. Oh, the other thing about the Kingroon, I threw this micro. It's got a micro SD card versus the Prusa Mini, which has the USB. So I threw this extension. It's a micro SD extension cable that I just had lying around. It's not a permanent fixture by any means, because yesterday when I was putting the micro SD card in, it did that whole thing that you guys have probably all had happen to you, where you push it in, it misses a slot, boom, goes in the case, right? So you have to take the bottom of the case off to get your micro SD out. So I said, the heck with that. So I threw this micro SD extension cable on it. So I plugged the micro SD in here instead. So I don't want to have to take the bottom of the case off again. I can fix that with some hot glue and stuff, but I'll worry about that later. That's one downfall of this thing. But that's also relevant in a lot of other printers as well, so it happens. This thing's right in the way of my camera. But that's all right. Have I ever used the Creality CR10S Pro V2? No, I haven't. I have the CR10S Pro. I modified it a fair bit when I first got it. I put a BL Touch on instead of I got the version that it came with the inductive. I don't remember which one, but it was a probe. I changed it to a BL Touch. I upgraded the firmware to way back when I used the Tiny Machines firmware. And then it was printing great. It did a great job, and I started not using it a lot, and so I decided to upgrade the hot end to a micro Swiss all metal hot end, which worked great. And then I threw a Hemera, direct drive Hemera on it, which I've never really gotten working because I don't fully understand firmware. I know the settings I have to make in the firmware for the Hemera. I did it on my Ender 5, which again is sitting collecting dust right now. But so I have a friend that's, when he gets time and it's no rush at all, he's going to look at the firmware on the 10S Pro for me. But I haven't tried the V2 yet. So, but I'll probably end up selling my 10S Pro. I don't know. I may just end up taking the Hemera off of it and retiring the 10S Pro, put a Bowden system back on it, and maybe sell it real cheap. you know, a few $100 because it works fine, and I've got the Wham Bam system for it. So you have the 10S Pro V2 Tripod Garage? Oh, you bought one Tripods Garage. Great. Yeah, you can review it. The camera you're talking about, yeah. Um, yeah, I could have done a. I guess this is almost a review on it as well at the same time as the live stream. I mean, this is showing it off really well what it can do. Every time I see a camera like this with this sort of a setup, it reminds me who's old enough here to remember the days when Pixar first started, and the Pixar short that was at the beginning of movies with the bouncing, dancing lamp. You remember that? It was this sort of setup, and every time I see one of these, it reminds me of those that Pixar short. So we got the lettering starting on the Kingroon, and the Mini is just doing that final top layer infill. So the Kingroon is still ahead, but the Mini has done a great job at catching up so far. And it seems to be doing the top layers a little quicker than the Kingroon was doing the top layers. Luxor. Is that what it was called? Was Luxor? Cool. So let's zoom in on this a little bit for you guys. So there's the. Oh, there goes that smoke detector again. No. I'll get that head out of the way. Come on. So we're doing the top layers before the initial letters are going to be printing here. Kind of makes you dizzy watching that close, doesn't it? Hopping around. If no, that would no. Sorry, couldn't resist that. Yeah. When you get that camera Tripod's Garage, if you figure out how to get rid of that beep, please let me know. It's not bad, but I'd rather not have it. Orbiter extruder to reduce the weight. Yeah, that is overkill. That extruder on there, and the motor doesn't need to be that big one. Okay, and let's go back over to this guy. Let's see what Prusa's doing. Doing some infill, some top layer infill, top layer. Oops, I'm losing my. There we go. I was losing my fat roll was causing my transmitter, my receiver to fall off my belt loop. The stand, yeah, it's weighted. It's nice. It's weighted. It's heavy. It's great. Different slicers, yeah. Kingroon. Let's back this up again. Yes, there we go. Kingroon was sliced with Simplify 3D because I tried making a profile in Prusa Slicer for it, but it turned out terrible. Especially that top layer in there. I don't know. It just did not look good, and the bottom layer was just awful. Um, and so I found a profile for Simplify 3D that one of the community had made. So I use that, and it's much better. And then the Prusa is obviously using Prusa Slicer. Yeah, that's what I said earlier, Mark. I may even open it up and even snip a wire, take the beeper off or something. So, yeah, yep, that's probably what I'll end up doing. Although, as I say, it's not bad. It's a minor annoyance for what it is. But I mean, I like the light. The light is cool. You're right in front of my head. You little spotlight stealer, you. Um, oh, I've charged this. This thing is cool. This is called the Follow by Edgy. This thing here. This is how it comes. Let's focus on this. And basically, when it's on, let's go to full screen here actually for a second. So this is the Follow by Edgy. So when I turn it on, let's unplug the charging cable here. Now it's on. So if I move my head, oops, it's got to be on the desktop. Here, switch cameras again here. There we go. Let's zoom in on this. So this is pretty cool. So now if I move my head, you'll see it. If I go over this way, it's following my face. If I go back over this way, it's following my face. It's pretty cool. Over this way, hello. And then right over this way. Works incredible. So I have to hook that up yet. I haven't hooked that up to any of my cameras yet. I just charged. I just opened the box. I've had before Christmas, but I just decided to charge them and get them going recently. So that's a pretty cool little product. That was a referral from Joel. Power off. So that's another review for another time. So yeah, I have a couple of those to play with. Um, could I've used the profile for the Mini for the KPS3? I didn't think to try. There's a little slight difference in build volume. I could have switched that, but I never thought to try that. Maybe I'll try that and see. I don't know if again, I'm not a completely up to date on how to make the profiles or how they work deep down, but you have direct drive versus Bowden. I don't know if that would have made a difference in the profile. I don't know, with everything that's involved in the start and the end codes. So, but that's something I could definitely try. Yeah. TMC 2225 drivers, are those new? In what? What has the 2225 drivers? The Kingroon? You mentioned you use the Ender 3 V2s at work. How many of them do you use, and do you happy with them? Did you do any upgrades? No, I have 3 of them in total. At my office, I have 2 of them, and I have a CR6 SE and an AnyCubic. I didn't do any upgrades to the Ender 3 V2s, and I'm very happy with them. The only, this is me being maybe too picky or too anal about it. The only difference I notice is with the 3 of them I have, the 1 here and the 2 at my work. The beds are all different. They're all the glass beds with that carbonium. I don't know what do you call that surface on them, but they're all the same build surface as far as the glass beds go. But when they cool down, with one of them, I can just flick the piece off. It's fine. The other one, I have to give it a little bit of a scraper underneath, and boom, it pries off. And then the third one, it takes a little bit of work to get the print off the bed after it's cooled off. So the beds are not all created equal. I think it's because it's mass produced, and depending on how much coating and so forth they put on, that's the only difference I find in them. So I do have, I believe here, um, let's see, is it here? I don't know where I put them. Somewhere I bought, oh, no, I think they're at the office. I have flexible build surfaces for them. I'm going to replace the glass beds with the flexible build surfaces. These are just, what are these? Yeah, this is just a spare glass bed and a magnet. But yeah, I'm going to put flexible build surfaces on those Ender 3s, the Ender 3 V2s, because the glass is just too inconsistent as far as the print sticking too good to them. Carbondium glass. Yeah, yeah. But it's actually, obviously, it's not a perfect system they use, because some of them stick like glue and some of them just pop off easy. So I'm a fan of the flexible build surface, and I know there's a lot of people out there that like the glass, which is fine. It's whatever works, right? So, but I thought I had the build surfaces here, the flex beds. I did put actually on my Ender 3 V2 here. I just realized I put this on it. I have a flexible build plate called a BQ, BIQU, on this Ender 3, and it's very, very thin and flexible build plate, but it works really well. And all I had to do was adjust my mechanical Z, my mechanical Z stop, you know, the end stop for the Z axis. I just had to cut off that little nibby that's on it, which allowed me to lower it so that I could get the nozzle a little closer to the bed, because this flexible surface is a whole lot thinner. You can see how thin that is than the glass bed was. So that's what I put on this Ender 3 V2, which is right behind these boxes. And then this is this glass bed that's on the CR6 SE standard glass bed. And I've got my Wham Bam here that I believe this fits. Yeah, this Wham Bam plate I have even fits the Ender 3s. So I have a couple of those. I just need the magnets. So we'll see. We shall see. Oh, and by the way, check out the first layer. They have nice t-shirts that you can buy that say, I print PETG, I print PLA, or I print ABS. Go to thefirstlayer.com. No. I'm advertising for them. Fellow Canadian channels. If they have auto bed level, the Z offset may be different between them. No, they don't have auto bed level at all. These are just manual for the Ender 3 V2s. Use type of glass on your monoprice. You just pop it in the freezer for 1 to 3 minutes, and you can hear the object pop off. But looking forward to the Prusa Mini with the Flex, yeah. And Mark, yours is great. Good. You have to use a thick first layer because the glass has low area in the middle. Thin first layer won't stick. Now, the other thing you can do on that, Mark, is, well, John Smith basically told you right there, you can add auto bed leveling, which is going to probe the bed and all the spots, and it's going to allow for that low spot in the middle of the bed. And the other thing people have done is underneath the glass, they've put some stuff in there to raise a little bit. I don't know how effective that would be with glass. So, but definitely auto bed leveling, throwing a BL touch on there is an option, which would help compensate for that for sure. And there's a lot of videos out there on throwing BL touch on Ender 3 V2. So there's a lot of information out there to help you with that. I kind of think the Kingroon is going to finish before the Prusa Mini. Look at that. Prusa's got a little bit of catching up to do. Does it tell me the time remaining on this? Prusa does. Prusa says 29 minutes. Kingroon says, it just tells me how much we've printed, 1 hour and 9 minutes, but it doesn't tell me how much is remaining. Now let's see what the options tell me here. I can adjust the speed and the fan. but it does not look like it has baby stepping. Although it might only show up on the first layer. I don't know, but I doubt it. I'm sure it's, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you ordered a mag flex plate. Yeah, okay, cool. Elmer's purple glue stick. It makes the glass stick perfect. Yeah. I used a glue stick on, I had to run some, I ran a big job on the MK3 on the Prusa with ABS, and I was having trouble with it sticking at whatever temperature. And I used a glue stick, and the only thing I found with the glue stick, and maybe I did it wrong, was when print finished fine and it stuck beautifully. But when I ended up lifting it off, I could see the glue stick marks on the bottom of the print, which I wasn't really happy with. So I avoid it if I can. I don't want to add anything else into the mix. I read somewhere, no, I saw a YouTube post. I forget what channel it was on. And the guy does a mixture of, he makes a sugar and water mixture. Um, I saved the video, but he does a sugar water mixture, stirs it up, lets it settle a little bit, and and it's sort of a thick, almost a paste, but not too thick. And then he brushes it on the bed and then lets it dry. And then when he heats the bed up, it basically turns that into a sticky substance. And he says he has 100% success with this mixture and it leaves no residue. And when you're done to clean it up, you just use a cloth and warm water. So that's another thing that may be worth trying as far as having bed issues. So you use glue stick on almost all of your printers. Yeah, a lot of people do. A lot of people use glue stick. So yeah, Mark, as John Smith says, ABL is great. It's not overly expensive. You've probably seen them. They look, this is a, I don't even know if this one works. I could send it to you, but I'm not sure if it works. But this is a BL Touch right here. Looks kind of like that. Why didn't that focus? Come on. There we go. That's a BL Touch. I don't know if yeah, this is an actual brand name BL Touch. So what happens is um, this little probe pops out and it comes down and it probes your bed and however many spots you tell it to. And basically the firmware will then, as you're running your first layer, your Z height will go up and down that minute amount as it's doing the first layer to compensate for the little dip in your bed. So these aren't overly expensive and they're not difficult to put in, and it's just a matter of doing a quick firmware update, letting you know it's there. You shouldn't lose any build volume on it, and you just may have to. And I'm not even sure. Yeah, you may have to modify your hot end slightly and build a part to mount this on. So, but yeah, that's what they look like. Yeah, just that little oops, probe coming out. Boom. Yeah, I think this one's busted though. I have that in a drawer for some reason. So, but I've kept it. Oh, let's focus again. Boom, just like that. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so you don't use heat or glue for the flex for PLA on a flexible build surface. Yeah. Depending on the size of the print too. I mean, these I just use heat anyways, but yeah, I find on some of them if there's a fine line depending on what you're printing, you get the odd issue with that corner lifting, and I've found that sometimes on that I will use a dab of glue stick, but I thought I had another BL Touch here that was working. I'll look and see if I do have a spare BL Touch, Mark. I'll send it to you for sure, but I'd have to look. For some reason, I think I do. May even have one. Actually, you know what? I took one off of the. I have an Ender 5 sitting at my office that I tried to put a I've just lost the word. Chimera. I have an Ender 5 that I just put a Chimera on, and I don't use that Ender 5 much at all. So, and it's got a BL Touch, and I could probably strip the BL Touch off of that and send it to you. So, yeah, so don't buy one yet. Just let me have a look and see about that. And just everybody on here, just so you know, I've known Mark for 35 years or something like that. So he's a good friend. Ninja Flex, smooth PEI and blue tape. I want to try Ninja Flex. I've only done flexibles once, and it worked out pretty good. But I want to do more flexibles. I want to try flexibles on my. I want to try flexibles, and I want to try nylon on my Flash Forge. It's supposed to be able to handle anything. So Easy Mat, I've heard of that one, Chris. Yeah, yeah. Well, we're getting the letters printed on the Prusa now, and we got letters printed on the Kingroon. I have a feeling Kingroon's going to finish first here. Um, yeah, that's. I was sure I had a second BL Touch here somewhere. Another one. I've got so many parts. These are my old Ender 5 parts. I might just strip that Ender 5 down and use it for parts. I may actually try to use the frame of it and try to build myself a new printer. What the heck, right? Gotta look for something new to do. No, those are. I have so many hot ends up here. I don't know why I have so much of this stuff I have sometimes, but don't we all collect drawers full of junk after we've been doing this for a while? Okay, you don't have an enclosure, yeah. On your big Core XY, the bed isn't even connected to the board. You use a brim and fake tack. And if the Z offset is good, PLA stick's good. Oh, that's good to know. Hey, Matt, looking good. Yeah, I think the Prusa is going to look better when it's done. We'll see. Yeah, but I mean, you know, for the money I paid for this little Kingroon, it's not doing a bad job. I mean, I printed this little guy yesterday to try it, and look at the. This isn't bad. Come on, camera. There we go. I mean, that's not bad. Yeah, this is a pre-sliced file sample one that came on it. It did a pretty good job. The only thing I really don't like about it is the. I mean, that's an awful looking first layer. I think that print surface has obviously some dirt issues on it, and I've tried to clean it, et cetera, et cetera. I just need to get a smooth, flexible metal build plate on it. But otherwise, it's not a bad little machine for the money I paid for it. I haven't printed the polycarbonates yet. Oh, that's what it was. The Sansa, thank you, into a Voron. I've been watching. Oh, what's his name? The guy out of Ontario that builds the Vorons. You guys all know who I mean, but I've been watching him. He builds the Vorons, and I thought, yeah, I guess I could. That Ender 5 frame could be a Voron because I could convert that into a Core XY, could I not? Yeah. No, people won't look at the bottom, but I'm just saying, depending on what I'm printing, if it's a box and I have to print it on the side or something I have to print to avoid using supports, and I want the bottom surface to be a visible surface, then yeah. But I mean, really, how much is it going to cost me to get a metallic flex plate for this? Nothing. I could even cut down one. Yeah, Nero 3DP. That's him, Chris. Yeah. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll use that Ender 5 frame as a basis to try that. I don't know. I've never built a printer from scratch before, so I don't know if I'm knowledgeable enough or have the ability to do it, but why not? We met in 77, Mark. That's when I won't say how old I was, but yeah, that's a long time. Oh my goodness, that means we've known each other over 40 years. Oh my goodness, wow. Look at that. Brain fart. I know how this. Yep, yep. Ender 5 is a good machine. It isn't Core XY, but no need to convert it to Core XY. It works great as it is with a few mods. I know, I've used my Ender 5 a lot. It was one of my first printers I bought way back when I got into 3D printing, but I don't use it anymore. And I tried to convert it. Well, I converted it to with the Hemera Direct Drive, and I mean it works fine. I'm just not using it. And I think it might be a good little hobby machine, something to take apart and try. That Voron that Nero 3DP makes. I mean, he did that 14-minute benchy on it. Yeah, it was a crappy looking benchy, but the fact that he completed a benchy in 14 minutes was amazing. I don't have I don't have a tenth of his knowledge, but I think it would be fun to play with, fun to learn. Not that I'll ever have the time to do it, but why not? That was the year you saw Star Wars in a theater in Japan, 1977. Yep. My favorite printer, I'm not going to lie, is going to be my Prusa. My two Prusa, the Mini and the MK3s. So far, um, um, but after the Prusas, they're all pretty good. Um, if they do the job I want them to do, they're my favorites. The Ender 3 V2s are great. I resisted buying an Ender 3 for a long time because I thought, well, it's a cheap printer, it's going to take a lot of work to get it going, et cetera, et cetera. When the Ender 3 V2s came out, they had sales on, and I had a job that I was running in my business that required me to get more printers. So it was either Anycubics or Ender 3 V2s. I bought a bunch of Anycubics. I didn't like the where their quality had gone, so I sent them back. And then I bought Ender 3 V2s, and they helped print this job that I was doing extremely well. And now I've got another potential large job coming up for printing thousands of prototypes. And I think that my go-to printers for that are going to be Ender 3 V2s, just get them pumping away. So because the samples I ran for this particular client were on the Ender 3 V2s, and they said that they were so much better than the samples that they had had in the previous orders they were getting. So, will I be doing the MK3s Plus upgrade? I've heard of that. What's the difference, Sansa? I've seen that they do have one that's called the Plus, and they did the same thing for the Mini, but I really haven't investigated it to see what the main difference was. And is it an upgrade package they sell? I would be interested in it for sure, but depending on what's involved and what it's going to do for me. You printed your favorite benchy boat today. Ah, a big one? I popped my 3D printing cherry. He did, printing the benchy. He did. Your Ender 3 was your first printer 2.5 years ago. Yeah, when I first got into it, I had a friend that I kind of, he said, if you ever want, he got me into 3D printing. And he said, if you ever want to get into it, let me know. I'll set you up. And I thought, well, then I started to learn a few things, and I kind of went around his back, and I just bought some stuff on my own. And I think he was going to refer me to the Ender 3s. And I ended up getting two Creality CR20S Pros. And one of them is sitting on the floor behind me taken apart. They never really worked good, but lesson learned. And then it was a CR10S Pro, then it was the Ender 5. Oh, here we go. We are finished. So, um, Kingroon beat Prusa in speed. That's okay. The upgrade is $50. That's not bad on Prusa, and it is just the new Pinda probe with some slight improvements with some of the 3D printed parts. Okay. $50 might be worth doing it. That's not too bad. Ordered the Mini Plus 2 weeks ago. What would you say is the best thing about it, and what do you think is the worst? Oh, Craig, that's an interesting. Best thing about the Mini, uh, personally, is the size. Um, it's compact. I have taken that many different places with me before. Um, the size of it and the fact that the print quality is great, and for what you're getting in it, it's basically got everything, including the kitchen sink, in a compact size. I love the fact that you can get a little thumbnail preview of what you're going to print. What I like least about it, if I had to say something I like least about it, is the filament holder. Sometimes I've bumped into it; it can fall off, but I know that there's probably some mods that you can make by putting a filament holder on this extrusion or something, but that's what I like least about it. It's really hard to find something I don't like about it. So, what did I pay for my Ender 3 V2s? New printer probe, runout sensor, and some brackets, as far as you can tell. There seems to be a kit slated for release in January. I'll have to look at that. I'll get back to that question about my Ender 3 Pro V2s. Even on the Prusa's website, it stated your printer is working fine. You'll not see much improvement. Yeah, okay, well, that's probably good to know. And I haven't had any problems with it. I've had to change a nozzle now and then, but it's my own fault for the material I've run through it. And Prusa Mini has all the Prusa knowledge. So true. It does. And you said that was one of the deciding factors in how much space. Yeah, and it's quiet. I mean, it doesn't make much noise at all. Here, let's zoom in on it and watch it finish while I'm talking. Here we go. Let it finish that. And the noise, I'll bring my mic closer. I mean, I don't know if you can hear that. I'll whisper, but you can hear the noise as the head moves. But that's it. It's not very loud. You guys, I would say that you could have that Prusa Mini in your bedroom beside you, and you'd be able to sleep fine. Matt, Geek Tech, G-Tech. I've not used a G-Tech printer, so I can't really speak on it yet. So A30 Pro, I've heard of it, but I've not used one, so I can't really speak on it, but maybe someday. Mark, you're doing a benchy just because everybody else does one. I have a row of benchies lined up behind me, probably 12 or 14 of them. And then I have some big benchies that I've run as well. And then I have obviously the benchy that this is 3D Printing Nerd's benchy off one of his printers that he sent me. So pretty cool. It's a medium-sized benchy, and I just broke something. It fell. Oh, 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 that's okay. Oh, I had a screw in the benchy. I don't know why I had a screw in the benchy, but I had a screw in the benchy. Things that sound nasty but aren't. Screw in the benchy. Okay, let me just check for you, Sansa. I'll let you know. I'm just going to pop onto Amazon here. I honestly don't remember what I paid for those Ender 3 V2s, but it was a while ago. Before Christmas, I got them. Let's see. I got them on Amazon, of course. Or did I? No, I bought one of them directly off of, one or two of them directly off Creality. But I believe my first one was bought off of Amazon. Creality had a Black Friday sale, and I'm trying to remember what I paid for that. I think I got them all off Amazon. I must have. Hold on. No, that was that one. I do far too much shopping on Amazon if it takes me this long to find that Ender 3 V2. Yeah, no, I got them all off of $329, I believe, Canadian. But I must have bought them all off Creality. For some reason, I thought I had gotten one off of. Oh, you know what it was? I got two of them locally. Sorry, I bought two of them locally off of Spool 3D, and I bought one off Creality. Yeah, I believe I paid $329 Canadian for them, which is why I got them when I did. Yeah, or was it 2 and 2? I don't remember. Anyways, yeah. So let's see. Is there a brand of PLA you prefer to use in the Prusa? Yeah, I, it's hard to make a referral on filament because depending on where you are, your climate, your ambient temperatures, the humidity. Um, Personally, if I would, you're gonna get some. If you got the mini and you've ordered it with some filament, which I hope you did, you're gonna love the Prusament. You pay a little more for the Prusament, but I think it's my most reliable filament. But I've also used the Erion, Eryone, the Erion filaments. I quite like those. I get them off of Amazon for an average of $32 a kilogram. They come on sale sometimes. So Prusament, Erion are the ones. Believe it or not, Creality makes a pretty decent filament now, but they're not as easy to get as the other ones. So on the Mini, do I find that the time remaining display show is accurate? Yes, I do. Yeah, if it's sliced with Prusa Slicer, absolutely. I find it works out quite well. Right now it says 7 minutes, so we're at 8:46 my time. So let's see, it should be done at 8:53. We'll see how accurate that is. 8:53, remember that number. And yeah, and as Craig Travis just said, Chris Travis just said here, Craig, just yeah, ask around. Everybody has their favorite pluses and minuses. So as I say, my favorites are the Prusament and the Arion. So, but everybody has, and again, depending on where you are, I don't have any humidity problems out here. So, Creality Under 3 V2 is still on sale through Creality. Good to know. Might be worth picking up another one. You, you did get a roll from them and add it to your mini order. Yeah, that's great. March for your mini. I know. What a long wait, isn't it? The Under 3 2 V3 prices, the Under 3 V2 prices seem to have gone up on Amazon. Yeah, everything's gone up on Amazon. I've noticed this year. Last month or two, everything's, even this Kingroon has gone up $30 or $40. It's crazy. Yeah, Spool 3D is very fair with their pricing. I'm quite happy, but I think they're sold out right now too. Do I have any resin printers, and which one do you recommend? I have one resin printer. I had the Creality LD002R. I did a long time ago. I was on a stream with somebody, and I built it. I liked it. It worked. It was so new to me, and it was messy, et cetera, et cetera. I ended up sending it back, and the only reason I sent it back is because they put the LD002H, Amazon did, on sale, and it cost less than the 002R, and it's a mono printer. It's a little bigger build surface, and so I sent the R back and bought the H because the price was lower. And so the H is sitting in a box right back, right here. Oh, right there. So that's the LD002H, which has still not been unboxed. So that's going to be a future live unboxing and build, but my basement's a little chilly. These things, from what I've been told, don't like the cold. So I have to wait maybe till spring, until we warm up down in my basement a little bit, or until I loosen my wallet strings and get the house heated a little better. But yeah, I will be doing a build on that. And I also have around the corner, I've got the Anycubic wash and cure station. So yeah. 8:53. Yeah, we'll see. We're at 8:48 and 5 minutes left, and it says 4 minutes on the screen. 269 in the Creality store, the US dollars. That's not bad. New York City, so not bad. Yeah, I think you're a little more humid than we are, though. We're out in the west in Calgary, and it's pretty dry out here. 3D Solutech, I've heard of that. Inland filament from Micro Center, $14.99 a roll, but went up to $16.99. That's American, though, right? That's US? Yeah. Polaroid PLA is on sale at Joann's, but I've heard mixed reviews of Mini. I used some Polaroid. No, not Polaroid. Sorry, Kodak. I've used Kodak filament, We have a store up here called filaments.ca, and way back when, I bought some Kodak filament, and I actually quite liked their filament. It was beautiful colors, and it printed really well, but it's been sold out for a long time, and I can't seem to find it anymore. So I have a couple Kickstarter printers coming in the next, oh, I don't know. I have 3 Kickstarter things coming in the next few months, so I'll be looking at those. Of course, one of them is the CR30, the print mill. That's going to take up a lot of space here, so I'll have to prepare for that. I don't expect that's going to come before March or April. So we're almost done here. Let's see, we're at 50 with 3 minutes left on the Mini, so that might be pretty accurate as far as the timing on that. And look at that, it's going to be a nice little 2-hour stream again too, which I like. I'm trying to do these and not make them go too long. Yeah, 3 rolls of silk PLA from CC3D, and it prints amazing for you. Yeah. Oh, you found the Kodak wasn't wound too great. I didn't find it too bad, but I had to use it for a few specific projects, and I needed the colors. I love the colors, but I like the way it was packaged. But the problem is, it was only a 750-gram roll as well, so it was a little more expensive than I really wanted to see. So once this one's done, we'll pull them off the beds, and we'll have a little quick comparison. You know, it's funny. The purple looks bluish on screen. But the purple on that Mini, like this is actually purple, not blue. So it's really weird that the cameras don't pick up purple too well. None of my cameras do. Oh, and I have to run this once more just because. Let's see if this works. Again.
Hit that like button and subscribe. Bye.
Aww.
Filamentum, yeah. There we go. Prusa Mini's done, and it's 8:52. So yeah, pretty close, pretty good. There we go. Okay, let's oh. Well, those are done. I'm gonna take this one off the bed. We'll get the close-ups in a minute, but this one is just basically, you can actually see on the bottom of this bed, it's deformed probably from the heat. Have a look at the bottom of that bed. I mean, you can see there's little areas. It's just the cheapest magnet going. And so I think that's deformed a little bit from the heat on it. So the bottom layer, oh, it's awful. But anyways, we'll look at that in a minute. So Kingroon finished a little quicker. Then we have the Prusa, which is obviously just going to come off super easy. Look at that. Didn't even have to pull. So, okay. Flashforge PLA, yes. I got some Flashforge PLA when I got my printer. It came with some sample spools, and it actually worked really well. Okay, let's have a look at these. So let's get really close. So we're going to start with the Kingroon. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here is the Kingroon. That's the front. Oops. Now, the detail in there, that's not the printer. There's supposed to be a smiley face. That's just me and my file. I need to thicken those lines up a little bit. So if I turn the light on, is that going to help at all? Yeah, that's going to help a little bit. So there's the front finish, top on the Kingroon. Back is terrible. I mean, it pulled some crap off the bed, which again is why I don't like those print surfaces, because I cleaned it, but that's just the bed deteriorating, looking like crap. The sides, the layer lines are decent. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. No banding, no deformities. So really, and the top doesn't look too bad. Again, don't worry about that face because that's just me and my the way I've designed it. It's probably not the best. So, and if we go to the Prusa Mini, which is purple, not blue, trust me, that is supposed to be purple. So my face came out a little better on the Mini, so there's a little more detail on that. But as I said, I could do a little bit better at designing that. Of course, it's a cleaner, looks like a little bit of cleaner finish. It's got a little bit more sheen. The Kingroon should have had a bit more sheen to it, but it seems to be almost like a matte finish. That could be to do with the temperature I'm running, possibly. No, I didn't have to wait till the bed cooled much at all with the Prusa at all. Depends. If it's smaller parts, I would wait. I have broken parts by being too eager and pulling them off. So if it's a smaller part, fine. If it's a larger print like this, it shouldn't be too bad. And then there's that. And then the back side of this one is, I don't know what happened right here. So there was obviously a little bit of an issue right there. Missed a layer line or something, so not a big deal. But overall, that's a great bottom layer. And of course, the sides going to be beautiful. So, you know, I'm not going to bash the bottom of the, well, yes, I will. So the bottom of the Kingroon print, let's just focus there now. So yeah, that's an issue with the bed. See, um, yeah, that's an issue with the bed on the Kingroon. So definitely the print surface that it comes with, because if you look, there's no garbage or anything on that bed where it came from. So it came off, and I had cleaned it before we started, before I came on. And so there's obviously some texture from that coming off onto the print. So the bed is deteriorating. So definitely you would want to put a flexible steel build surface on that, such as this Wham Bam plate or something similar, with a much smoother surface than those cheap magnets. So, and again, and the Prusa, of course, because it's a smooth bed, it came out really nice. So, but the fronts, you know, the Prusa looks great. Little more detail in the Prusa. Okay, so there's the Kingroon. So there were some issues with filling with the top fill on that one there. Again, it could be some slicer settings, but overall it's not bad. Little bit of cooling issue maybe right there where you can see a bit of the infill popping through on that top layer. And the Prusa top layer is beautiful. So, I mean, I'm going to give the quality award on this one to the Prusa Mini. Yeah, under extrusion at that point, and your building plate may be stuck on there. Yeah, and that's what's happening is some of the build plate is being stuck on there for sure. I think where the Kingroon will show its weakness would be the straight walls, even with linear rails. Yeah. Direct drive will add noise to the print. So that's a heavy direct drive. So they didn't have to make it that big and bulky at all. So, but again, people have already upgraded that. So, but I'm not going to put much money into upgrading a $179 printer. So, yeah. But yeah, the Mini wins in quality for sure. Kingroon beat it in speed, but the speed could have been a factor in some of the quality issues on that top. So, and I just went with, excuse me, I just went with the profile that I had found. Now, yesterday I printed this one. Where is it? This one. Yeah, gold. So I printed this one on the Kingroon yesterday. It didn't turn out too bad on the front. again, not as much detail. So it has the same issues on this one as it did. The back was not nearly as dirty, but then again, um, this is a lighter color and it's probably not showing it as much, but it just shows that that bed is probably deteriorating a little bit more as I print. So, but that turned out pretty good yesterday. That was from the Kingroon yesterday, and then I did a gold one on the Prusa Mini yesterday. So this was done on the Prusa Mini as well yesterday. So again, there's that same spot. Look at that same spot right here where have that little layer line. So that could be something on the bed too. I have to check that because I have an issue with this print surface. On the back side here, I had a layer peel off with some ABS that I was running one time. So, and I got a little bit too quick and pulled it off too quick before it cooled, I think. So, yeah. So there we go. Not 3 times better compared to the price. Well, it's double the price. But I think overall, and this is a small flat print. Keep in mind, these are small flat prints. I think when it comes to a larger print, you're going to notice a big difference in the Mini as far as the quality when it comes to doing a full-size print on it. Although, again, the Kingroon is good for what it is. If you're just doing small pieces, and depending on what you're doing, if you're doing some prototyping or stuff, it may be fine. If you're doing toys for some kids, it may be fine, right? So, in my opinion, a 3D printer is as good as you need it. If it does what you need, and it's doing what you need on a consistent basis, then it's good. It's a good printer. But you got to think that longevity. Which one of these do you think will have an issue with parts first, with some failures? The electronics underneath the hood too, which I don't really dwell into because I'm not that familiar with, and I don't know a lot about the electronics and the boards. I don't know which, and then you got to look at the service as well when it comes to that. So Cambrian 3D rubber printer, is that the Kickstarter one? If that's the one you're talking about, that's one of the ones that's going to be coming, hopefully first quarter this year. Yep. I'll be doing a live build and print on that one. So yeah, if cost and immediacy is important, the Kingroon works. Yeah, it works in short term depending on what you want to do with it. Yeah. And if price is a factor, then definitely yes. But if somebody's spending $179 on a Kingroon Canadian and that's what they get it for, that's half the price of a Ender 3 V2. The Prusa Mini is 300, and let's suppose you're going to buy it assembled, $399 US. So you're looking $500 Canadian. Again, if you have the money, it's worth it. I'd put the money into that versus buying something else at that price. You've used filaments from about a dozen manufacturers, opened maybe 40 spools so far, and haven't had a single jam yet. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, that rubber printer is going to be interesting, Mark. That the Cambrian, definitely. So Prusa Mini is definitely a good starter machine. I agree. Yeah. Again, compact, light. I know they've made a few changes to the newer ones. I don't know what, but yeah. So that was my Mini versus Kingroon challenge. And again, I don't think either one is a bad buy, depending on what your need is, what your needs are. So, yeah, they both did the job. They both finished what they started, and I mean, other than that back side, which can be fixed with changing the bed, I could ask this to a kid or to anybody and say, hey, here's my DeWitt coin. It's worth about 44,000 pesos. Go ahead and spend it. And they could. So there we go. Look at that. Okay, Matt, thank you so much for popping in. We're going to wrap this up now anyways. And I want to thank everybody that came in and watched this stream. Keep an eye out this week. I'm hoping to put something out I'll decide what I'm going to do next Sunday. It'll probably be this big format one that I have behind me here, and I'll do some more comparisons. And I have to start doing some. I've had some requests to do some videos on the Anycubic or on the Flashforge Creator 3. Sorry, on the Flashforge Creator 3. So I will be. Yeah, oh yeah, the Prusa Mini will print more materials than the Kingroon for sure, I'm sure. And I'm sure it's got a hotter hot end. I'm sure it has a hotter temperature for the heat bed overall. But again, if you're running just some PLA fun prints for kids and stuff, and price is an issue, go for the Kingroon. So, but again, there's no guarantee how long it will last. But it's been pretty good little printer for me, and that's probably what I'll help our little one learn on as he gets old enough to understand what's going on with these things. So, but anyways, thank you everybody for popping in. It's been great. I'm liking this time slot for these Sunday night streams because it means that I'm not keeping everybody up too late. And off to watch Doctor Who. You missed it on January 1st. It's a good show, Mark. You'll love it. If you're a Doctor Who fan, which you are, that's a great show. So thank you everybody for dropping in. If you're new and you haven't, please hit my like button and subscribe. I can do that one more time just because I think it's so cute. We'll just play
Hit
this.
that like button and subscribe. Bye.
Aww.
So thank you, everybody. Everybody have a great week. Watch out for what I'm going to be doing next week, probably building that big volume, that large volume printer. And have a wonderful week. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and say hi to a stranger. And thank you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Take care.